Hey Flower Tribe, it's Kelly Lehman from Cranberry Fields Flower Farm, and I'm coming to you from behind the camera today. I wanted to share a holiday binge watch series with you because I made one for our hydrangeas, and a lot of you said that you liked them, so you asked for it, Flower Tribe, you got it. So here's a holiday binge watch. Please grab a cup of coffee or a glass of wine and sit back and enjoy the holiday festivities. Have a great day, Flower Tribe. Today I want to show you how to build out your Christmas planters. Well guys, before we dive in to how to create this beautiful Christmas planter, I just want to do a quick shout out to some of our Flower Tribe to say thank you for your comments and for letting me know where you're viewing my videos from. It's really exciting for me to see where our viewers are watching from around the globe each week. So exciting. So thank you for that. Please keep those comments coming below and your flower questions, and let me know where you're viewing this video from in this great big beautiful world. So it's around December 7th, and we built out this beautiful Christmas planter even though our soil was frozen. And here are some of the steps that we did. So when I came out here earlier, I realized that the dirt in these planters is frozen. So it's a really good idea, if you can remember, to try to get your Christmas planters done like right after Thanksgiving when it's not that cold out, unless you live up north and then it's super cold anyway. So if you can try to put them in at a time when it's not freezing outside, that's best. But having said that, I hardly ever do things when I plan on doing them because something else always comes up. So this soil froze, and I saw this great trick from Laura on Garden Answer. She has a terrific garden channel, and she basically said just heat up some hot water in like a tea kettle, and you can kind of defrost the soil very easily that way. So that's what I did. I kind of added some water, and I did this before, so this soil is like really great to work with right now. But it only takes a few minutes, and it's a terrific tip, so thank you, Laura. As this soil is kind of thawing, I'm going to go out and I'm going to cut some of the greens that I'm going to use in this planter. But I have to tell you, you guys know that I love the workarounds and I love the shortcuts. So one of the shortcuts that I use for Christmas every year is I will buy a whole bunch of pre-cut greens from one of my local garden centers. So this whole batch right here, these big mamas, these are all pre-bought from a local garden center. And I realized that I was cutting too much from the pine trees around the area in my house. I was cutting into these pine trees, and I actually think I was harming them after a while because I was cutting a lot. So if you only, are taking a couple branches or just enough of your planters, that's fine. But I was cutting them for like 10, 15 planters for customers, and it was just too much. And it was also very time consuming. So I realized that this was worth its weight in gold to get these big guys pre-cut, but all these other smaller guys here, I just cut them from the plants around my property. And here's what I mean by that. So this is one of my varieties, and I just kind of cut a couple from various branches from all different trees so that I don't do too much damage on one tree. I don't want to cut here because I think I'm going to make a big hole here. So I'm going to look for a really bushy area that looks like it can take a little clipping, like right here. And that's it. And I'll just clip a whole bunch of these from different plants. And I'm going to put this in my pile here. And now I'm going to head on over to my magnolia tree. And I love magnolia trees. They're a beautiful addition to your landscaping. And they have these gorgeous white, beautiful flowers that come out in summer. And they actually smell like lemon. So these leaves have almost like a brown suede look to the back of them. So they're really gorgeous. They're really striking in arrangements. I'm going to come in here and give it a clip. And once again, I don't want to take too many leaves off of this tree because I want to make sure that I don't harm it. So I'm going to cut the branches that I would have pruned anyway just to keep it looking better in my landscaping, and I'm doing two jobs at one time. So I'm going to start at the base of the planter and kind of fluff out the bottom, and I'm going to kind of work my way up. Make sure that your stems are inserted nice and deep into the soil because you're going to have a lot of wind and a lot of rain and snow that's going to be blowing against it. So make sure that you get it in to the soil really good, really secure. And push some of these guys down more. And that soil is gonna freeze over again, so it's really gonna lock this in place. It's gonna be locked and loaded for the whole season until spring. And I kind of had the branches kind of flow over the sides in the beginning, and now I'm kind of building them up more. I like to add different types of greens, so it's not just one type of greens in here. I've got some pines, a variety. We're gonna put our magnolias in at the end for the finishing touches. So then I've got some of my favorite pieces here. They're kind of like these faux crystal stems. So they've got these little fake, they look like snow, but this will last through the elements, and they're a really cute thing to buy. And you can kind of get these at Michael's, AC Moore, Hobby Lobby. I'll see if I could find something similar to put on my Amazon shop page if I could find that, and I'll put the Amazon shop page in descriptions below. I'm gonna poke these inside for some added interest. And then these guys are very similar. They're faux berries, so these are like plastic, and they've got the faux crystals on them. So these guys are usually good at lasting through the winter elements too. I usually get like a year or two's use out of them. So what I'll do is I'll wind up just recycling them for at least 2 years. Sometimes I'll get more than 2 years out of it, but these are great to have, so it's worth the little investment. So I'll just add these for some added points of interest. And then I've got a couple more faux pieces that I found. Sometimes I'll find these on sale too at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or AC Moore, or even sometimes like in ShopRite they'll have like little gizmagoos to buy that are on sale. So at the end of the year I'll kind of scoop up all the discount faux things that I know that I like to put in my arrangements each year, and then I have them and I get them for cheap. These planters are great because they really hold up against the elements and the snow. There's snow coming down right now, and it actually just makes it look even more beautiful. See some of these crystals on these branches. So these are the real crystals. These are the faux crystals. And today I want to show you how to make a beautiful Christmas centerpiece. So let's dive right in. So I'm going to give you guys two different versions of how to make this centerpiece. And basically what we did was we took a centerpiece that was already partially made, because this time of year, time is crucial. So what we did was we found a wholesaler that sells arrangements that look like this. And this is something like what you can find in like Trader Joe's or your supermarkets or ShopRite. This is kind of what a lot of the arrangements look like, something like this. And I have to say, it's cute. and it's adorable, but I think if you want to make it more of like an elegant display for your table or for your holiday decorations, you might want to kick that arrangement up a notch. So basically, here's what we did. First of all, we stripped out some of the pieces here that we didn't like. So a lot of these pieces were kind of beat up, they were kind of dirty, and they just didn't look so great. So we basically just removed them from the centerpiece. And then we started building out our centerpiece. And what I mean by building out our centerpiece is that we got a lot of greens from our farm. And you can take these from like your landscaping. A lot of these are from like the bushes that are in the front of my house. So these are some arborvitae branches, and then there's like a whole bunch of pine in here, and I like to use a whole different mixture of greens as we added to this arrangement. And you can tell how much larger this piece is than this. You can tell how we kind of fluffed it out. So the size difference is probably almost double. If you wanted to make this a super duper do-it-yourself project, you don't even have to buy it pre-made. Basically what this arrangement is made of is a whole bunch of evergreens that are placed in oasis foam. So this arrangement started out with a plastic tray, and what they did was they inserted an oasis floral brick foam for fresh flowers, and the floral foam was soaked in water, and then basically it was just placed inside the tray, and they had put some tape on it to keep it in place. So there's some tape that wraps around the arrangement, and it kind of keeps it in place here. So once that oasis foam was put in here, they started to add the branches. And you could do the same thing at your house. So once again, you just start adding them until it starts taking the shape. And you want to make sure that it's a little bit longer on the sides. And then you just start building it out. So you can get really crafty and do it from scratch if you like. Or you can cheat like I do and get the pre-made base and then get to work. So we took a lot of these greens and we just added them to the sides, and we added them to the fronts of the arrangement, and we just kind of worked around the arrangements until we got the shape and the size that we loved. And then we found some pieces that were really terrific accent pieces. And you can find a lot of these great accent pieces at AC Moore and Michael's and Hobby Lobby, and I'll even put a link to my Amazon shop page below where I have a lot of floral gidgamagoos that you might like, and you could just buy them really easily on Amazon. So I love the idea of putting fresh pine cones in here. So I found the pine cones that actually have like picks attached to them, but sometimes if you can't find that, you can just go outside and get pine cones from your yard, and you can kind of wire them to a pick. And that's kind of like what we did with these Christmas arrangements. So I just took a regular Christmas ball and we wrapped some wire around it, and then we inserted a floral pick into the middle. So this was basically just an ornament. We took off the top, we inserted this pick, and then we just did a little wire around to secure it. And those are the pieces that we used for the sides and for the front. And we just kind of inserted them right into the foam. And then for some of the smaller accent pieces here, you can tell these Christmas balls are a little bit smaller than the other ones. And you can sometimes just find like groupings of 3 together. And a lot of times florists will use items in groups of 3 just because it's aesthetically pleasing. So instead of doing just like 2 over here or just like one little one by itself, we try to use groupings of 3 or 5, or sometimes odd numbers just look better. If you can't find the groupings of 3, you can just find ones that are single and then just kind of place them in here 1, 2, 3, all next to each other, and there's your grouping. So when we placed our candles in the arrangement, we wanted to make sure that we have a candle holder, otherwise sometimes it can flop out. If you can't find these candle holders, it's not a big deal, because I've made this arrangement before where we simply just carved out the middle of the oasis foam, and then we just kind of inserted it, and it wasn't that big of a deal. So if you can find these guys, that's great. If not, it's kind of like an added expense that you may not want to buy, but if you're traveling with it, it'll just make it more secure. And basically the candles just fit right inside the holder. And then it goes right inside the arrangement. But I already have one in here. I'll show you what it looks like. So this guy's already in here. And then the candle just goes right inside of it. Boom, done. And then we have some ribbon. So we basically just made like a little bow. This is just a simple bow like when you tie your shoe. And we put a little wire around it. So there's a wire just kind of keeping it in place. And then we just place the wire right inside that floral foam. And then make sure that you always fluff out your ribbons, because a lot of times when you're working with them, they get very crinkly or whatever. So if you left this in the arrangement like this, it definitely doesn't look as good as if you took the extra like couple seconds to kind of just fluff out that bow, smooth it out, give it like some really pretty, like a fishtail at the end. When you're going to make a fishtail at the end of your ribbon, you pretty much just take the ribbon, you fold it in half, and you can tell this ribbon has some wire in it, which I love. This way it's a little more sturdy and you can give it more of a shape that you want. And basically you just give it a snip like that. And when you open it up, you have a fishtail. And then basically we just took these wires and put it inside. And so this is what the arrangement looks like when it's completed. Have a great day, Flower Tribe, and I will see you in the next video. And today I want to show you how we built out this beautiful Christmas mantelpiece. I just want to do a quick shout out to some of our Flower Tribe to say thank you for your comments and for letting me know where you're viewing my videos from. It's really exciting for me to see where our viewers are watching from around the globe each week. So exciting. So thank you for that. So guys, you can make this mantelpiece using some of the greens from your landscaping or some of the greens you can buy from a local garden center. And I'm going to show you what we did for the base of this mantelpiece. So the first thing that we did was we kind of measured out how big we wanted the mantelpiece to be. And guys, if you don't have a mantelpiece or a fireplace, that's okay, because you might want to just put this on your kitchen table or on a countertop. There are so many different places in your home where you can probably show this piece off. So you're going to go to that spot in your house and you're going to measure out exactly how long you want it to be. And then you're going to go to a place where you can start building it out. And here are the steps that we took to make this creation. So let me scooch this guy out of the way. Excuse me, lady. So we started off with a tray that would hold some Oasis fresh foam. And I'll put some of these items in my Amazon shop page, which I'll link below, but you can probably find a lot of these items in like your local Michael's or your AC Moore's or Hobby Lobby. So any kind of tray will do, a plastic tray. Listen, even like Tupperware will work for this, because the idea is that you want to soak this Oasis foam in water, and then throughout the season, you want to keep these greens nice and fresh. So you're going to wind up adding a little bit of water to like the top of the arrangement so that that Oasis foam doesn't dry out, because that will keep your greens looking fresher longer. So anything that will kind of capture that moisture. So we use this tray here, and this tray happens to hold like a brick and a half of Oasis foam. So basically all we did was we just trimmed our Oasis foam, and we just cut this right down the middle. And make sure that when you get the Oasis foam, you get the kind that's used for fresh flowers. They also make all sorts of floral foam that can be used for dry flowers and silk flowers, but you don't want those, because those are the type that you don't soak in water. They just kind of stay as is. So we took this fresh Oasis foam, soaked it in water. I'll show you my little fancy system here. So I just have it in like a bucket, and it's been soaking for just a few minutes. And guys, whenever you soak Oasis foam, never push it down into the water, because you can cause all sorts of air pockets. And you don't want to do that, because the air pockets then stay dry, and if your flowers or if your branches wind up hitting that air pocket, it's not going to get moist. So you basically just put the foam in the water, and it basically sinks by itself. So we're going to put this half brick inside here, and I'll hold it up in 1 minute. We're going to put this guy here. Boom. All done. So now these guys are all set to go, and you can start building it out from here, or you can do an extra measure and just kind of strap it in, kind of like seat belt it in case you plan on moving your arrangement once or twice during the season. I'll take just some floral tape. You can do this with Scotch tape, and you're basically just securing it. And I'm just wrapping this around the arrangement. I'll do it twice around the same piece of tape. So now we have this pretty much secured in here just in case it gets all jiggly or wiggly. So you're going to put your longer branches out here, your taller branches here, and then you're going to kind of taper them down a bit. And then we're going to fluff out the front. And when we're done with all the greens and we like the way the greens look, then we're gonna add all the ornaments. So we made this video showing you how we created a mantelpiece that was even larger than this, because it's even easier to see it when it's like a larger piece. And so we used a larger mantle, and then we kind of fast forwarded everything so you guys aren't sitting here for like an hour. And so you can check that out. We're gonna speed it up, give you some music, and you can see exactly how we built this centerpiece out. Get your rulers out of your tape measure and figure out the length. And then you're going to start off on the sides, and you're going to build it out to the length that you want it to be. So get your longest branches inserted in the Oasis foam first. And that's the base of about how long you want it to be. Now that we have the length of it, we're going to put the height that we want in. So the middle piece is usually a little bit taller because it kind of tapers down. So you're just kind of building out the base of your dimensions right now, and then you're just going to kind of fill it in. And you can tell we're kind of stripping off the bottom of the branches. We have a rose stripper, and I'll show you how we do that. But if you don't have a rose stripper, you can just use your hands. And you can do that with a scissor or a knife. And this way, you don't make a giant hole in the Oasis. You just make the little hole where the stick goes in. Otherwise, the Oasis starts to fall apart. And now we're kind of working on the front. And we're going to cover the container that you put it in. Okay, so now we have the shape that we love. Notice how it's kind of higher on the top. It tapers down nice and long on the ends. And when you take a look in the middle's a little bit fluffier, and it kind of flows down too. So that's the shape. That's just the shape that we happen to like here, but you guys can make it any shape you like. You might want to make it fuller, you might want to make it a little less full, but I want to show you what the back looks like. Now you want to make sure that you don't build out the back, because the back is probably going to be flush against a wall. Unless you're putting this on like a side wall and then you want it to be beautiful on all sides. But here's what we did, because this is going on my mantelpiece and it's going to be flush against the wall. So the back of this arrangement, you can tell, basically has nothing. So I'm just going to put this right against my wall. The first year that we built this out, we actually did it on all sides, and when we put it on top of the mantelpiece, it was just too wide, it wouldn't sit on there. So then we had to wind up kind of, taking it apart. So if it's gonna sit flush against the wall, make sure that you have, this being kind of empty in the back. But it really makes for a beautiful arrangement if you do have a half wall, or if you want to use it for like a giant centerpiece for your table, and then you can kind of flow it out on this side also. So it depends what you want to do with this beautiful piece. So now comes the fun part. Now we're going to bling this out. So we're going to use lots of Christmas balls, and we're going to use berries and pine cones and all sorts of fun things. And if you celebrate Hanukkah in your home, you can even bling this out with like silver and white and blue ornaments, and it looks really beautiful. So when you're using ornaments and berries, you're going to wind up putting pics in them so that you can then put the pic inside the Oasis foam. So here's what we do. We take the ornaments and we basically just pop off that top. So the top piece just comes right off. They usually just come off pretty easily. And then we'll wind up putting one of these pics like right in the middle. And if you need like a shorter pic, you just kind of wrap this wire right around. And then you can insert it in. And if you need a longer pic, they sell pics that are longer, which is the easiest way to do it. But if you can't find those, you can just do 2 pics together, and that will give you like twice the length. When we start to put our Christmas balls into the arrangement, you can tell this guy here was just a super long, it's on a super long pic. And then once again, this pointy edge just goes right inside that Oasis foam. Just do it very gently, and you're good. And then some of the other pieces you can buy, sometimes you can find them in groupings of 3. So florists like things that are in odd numbers. They like groups of 3 and 5 because it's just aesthetically pleasing. So you can sometimes find these that are already in groups, and then you can just add the pics to these if you need a longer one. Once again, we're just wiring. And these pics that we have, we bought them and they already have the wire on them. So if you can check this out, this is like a pre-wired pic. It just makes life really easy. And if you can't find these, you could just find regular pics and then just use florist wire around it, but this just makes the job go faster. So I'll try to find some of these and put them on my Amazon shop. I'm not sure if I could find them, but I'll try. So this is what the finished mantelpiece looks like. And once again, you guys can use as much bling or as little bling as you like, but this is what ours looks like at the end. And I'm gonna bring it inside. I'm gonna show you what it looks like on top of my fireplace mantelpiece. So let's see how she fits. Perfect. Hey Flower Tribe, welcome to my video, how to make a floating Santa candle arrangement. So now I'd like to show you how I make this beautiful centerpiece using fresh cranberries that float in some water, and it uses some floating candles and some really fun ribbon that we have. And then we kind of paired it with a whole bunch of fresh holly and some pine cones and pines, and it makes for a really beautiful holiday arrangement, either for like your dining room table or even for like a table that might be in your den, or where people are kind of sitting around and playing like, you know, board games or whatever. It's just kind of fun to glance over and see these really pretty floating candles, you know, kind of dancing with light during the holiday season. And so let's dive right in. So guys, one of my favorite things to do during the holidays is to build out beautiful holiday decor for your house using beautiful pieces from nature. I just went outside and I gathered a whole bunch of clippings from some of the evergreens that are surrounding my property. And then I just got some fresh cranberries from the store and a little bit of ribbon. and some glassware, and then I just kind of got started. So I'm going to show you exactly how I built out these arrangements today. I wanted to show you what two of the finished products look like ahead of time, because a lot of times you can't find the exact same glassware that I'm using or the exact same ribbon, and that's okay, because I want to show you different versions of what this project can look like depending on what some of the materials look like that you can find by you. I used just like this really furry, like little ribbon. This was on an actual spool. It was a whole bunch of this. So this is the bottom piece. And then this is just some regular red velvet ribbon that we used. And then on top of it is a little piece of black satin ribbon. And we just basically used a glue gun. We got all these pieces in place. We did the red one first and then layered the white on top of it to make it like a clean line. And then we layered this black satin ribbon on top of it to once again make those lines nice and clean. And then we just basically filled it with some water. So I just had like a water pitcher. You can just bring it over to your sink. I added some water. And we have some floating candles. And a lot of times you can find like floating candles at like the dollar store or Michael's or AC Moore. I'll put a link to my Amazon shop page below, and I'll also put some of these items there that are either the same thing or similar that you can just do like some instant shopping right away if you like. And then I also just went to my grocery store. I went to ShopRite and I just got some fresh cranberries. These I found in like the produce section. They were like close to like where the berries were. I also have a glue gun, just like a little cheapo glue gun that I used to death. And I've got some scissors, and this is a different type of ribbon. So I'm gonna show you right now. I don't have the exact same materials that I used to build these out, but I'm gonna show you how to make it, and it's gonna be just as pretty. So this ribbon that I had left over actually has like a whole bunch of gold on it. I know I don't have to worry about the top and the bottom of this gold piece because I'm gonna wind up putting some of this fuzzy ribbon on top, and I'm gonna put that black ribbon on top also. So sometimes you can even go into your holiday gift wrap and just kind of pull out some materials instead of having to buy brand new stuff. And I love doing that. I love the idea of working with what you got. So I found a similar piece of ribbon. This guy is by no means the same as this first one, but I did find this in my holiday gift wrapping, and I realized it was kind of, like mangled and is very wrinkly and stuff. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it like a quick iron just to kind of get rid of those kinks, because you do want it to have like a really beautiful streamlined look at the end. So I just have a little iron set up over here. I'm gonna give it just a quick little once over. Sometimes these little steps really make the difference. Okay, so now this guy's good to go. If you don't have the red ribbon in your holiday stash, sometimes you can find the pre-made bows at like the dollar store or ShopRite or our local grocery store, and they're usually only like $1 or $1.50. And I just kind of, I cut the tail off, and I can actually make two of these out of this now. What a bargain. And I just took that ribbon and I wrapped it around the vase just to kind of eyeball how much that I needed. So that looks pretty good. Now I know that this white fuzzy piece is gonna wind up on the bottom. So I know that I wanna raise this up a little bit. So I'm gonna raise it up probably about 1 inch. And then I'm just gonna glue this piece here. I'm gonna take a little bit of the glue gun, make a little thin line. And I always work with either a cookie sheet underneath me or a cutting board so that I don't ruin my table. Because yes, I've done that before by accident. I'm gonna bring it up. And then I'm gonna wrap it around. And then I'm gonna take the other side, once again, give it like a little glue line. And kind of clean up the little glue that comes out of the side. Okay, so now you've got your first layer. And then I started showing you before that this guy is just a, like a fuzzy little string. I can show you better here. I'm actually gonna cut this so I can show you exactly what this looks like. This was just a giant piece of, almost like a piece of ribbon that you can find in Michael's or AC Moore or some of your local craft centers. And it comes on like a spool. And it's just really fun to use for this project. So we just kind of wrapped this around the bottom and gave it that little, like that little glue gun. A little bit here on the feathers. You don't need a lot. And then just watch you don't burn yourself as you're pressing it in there. And that kind of holds that Santa fluff in place. And that's it. But once again, you're not always able to find all these pieces, you know, that I'm using the exact ones. So this was kind of fun. We found this either at Five Below store or something. It's like a little doggy coat for like a little tiny dog. And it's kind of beat up. This was just like a little holiday. I used to use it as actually like a little decoration on my tree. So we used something like this and we just kind of cut it. Once again, it was an inexpensive piece. It's kind of beat up and I'm not going to use it anymore for a decoration. You can tell it's kind of seen the test of time, but we can use these pieces as we're building out this project. So I had a similar one that we just cut the fluff from, and I'm going to use that as the fluff on the bottom here. So I've got a crease here. I'm going to wind up putting this other crease down here so that both the creases are on the same side, just in case you want to hide them. And then if you'll notice, this fluffy piece doesn't even wrap all the way around, so I had to use two different pieces. But once again, work with what you got, guys. It's fun. It's great to recycle. You save money. Everybody loves that, especially around the holiday season. And then I'm just going to finish it off with this little piece. And now you've got your bottom piece done. Okay, now we're gonna move on to our little Santa belt, which is the black ribbon. Once again, I'm gonna find where that crease is because that's where I'm gonna start the glue. Gonna make sure that I don't have any of these little wispy things popping out, especially when you're working with like satin. Sometimes that happens. Just make it nice and clean. Oops. So sometimes to get rid of that little tattered end, you can even just give it like a little bit of a clean edge here. So I'm going to put a little drop of glue on here. I'm going to give it a cleaner edge by just folding that in. And now you have a cleaner edge. Okay. So I'm going to put a little drop of glue on that clean edge. Gonna line it up with my other guys. And you'll notice I put it just a little bit to cover the red, just so it has a cleaner line, and then it kind of sits above it. And then I'm gonna wrap it around. Make sure you do it super tight. Get rid of all that little air pocket. And that's it. You could just do a little bit of cleanup over here with some chunks. Kind of let them harden and remove them. So that's the back where all the mechanics are, and you can always kind of hide that. And this is more of the front. Isn't that cute? So now you've got your little Santa part, and now this is the super fun part. You can have a couple choices here, guys. You can either make them kind of clean lined, like this guy has no holly in the middle of it. This one we actually did the Santa belt towards like, you know, like the poofy more towards the middle, so it's got a clean line on the bottom. Or you can just put a little bit of holly, fresh holly, in the middle, but make sure that you cut back most of the sticks, because no one really wants to see sticks floating around. You're really interested in a lot of these greens. I don't usually use the holly. I take the berries out of the holly because sometimes after like 2 or 3 days they get kind of bloaty and yucky. So if you're gonna use the berries with the holly, it looks great, but only for like a day or two. Or you could just take it out completely, then you don't have to worry too much about it. So we just put a whole bunch in here. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of water. I'm gonna add some fresh cranberries. And the cranberries float, so that's kind of fun. And then we're just gonna add our candle. And you can make the height of the water any way you like. I'm actually gonna add a little more water to this guy. You can make it come right up to the top if you like. And then we're just gonna float the candle on top. Isn't that pretty? And let's see what this looks like with all of our other guys. And voila, all done. So you can kind of move these around. You can have like either 1 or 2 or groupings of 3. And it looks really fun on your kitchen table, or like I said, in your den. And isn't that fun and super simple? I wanted to tell you about some of the wood that we use for this centerpiece. So we had a whole bunch of trees that went down during some of the storms that we had recently. And Sheldon and my son Ryan went out there and they cut a whole bunch of it back. My son Jack was out there helping them. And that's where we got a lot of these wood slices from. But I know it's not always easy to come across wood slices. So here's what you could do. Some of the stores, once again, Amazon, AC Moore, Michael's, craft shops, a lot of times they'll actually sell like these thin slivered slices of wood for, art projects just like this. So you'll probably be able to find them there. And if not, guys, you don't have to actually put it on wood. Like you can just put this beautiful display by itself with some greens on it, either on like a tray or a serving platter. So here is the centerpiece with a gold tray beneath it. And this is actually a plastic tray, but it looks more expensive than plastic. But it's covered by tons of beautiful fresh greens and our gorgeous Santa arrangements. So it looks very, very elegant and fancy. And so I think I found that tray at like Michael's a few years back. It was super cheap. I bought like 2 or 3 of them. And I'm just adding a whole bunch of greens and pine cones, and I'm just kind of scattering them all about. And it's just like a really beautiful look for this centerpiece. Thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I will see you guys in the next holiday video. Welcome back to my holiday guide. I wanted to take you on a quick field trip to New York City to see some of the beautiful decorations there. Okay, I'm here with Sheldon and my daughter Maddie, and we're filming some of the most beautiful Christmas decorations that we're seeing in New York City and the Village today. everyone, it's Kelly from Cranberry Fields here today to give you some tips on saving time during your wrapping adventure for Christmas or Hanukkah. So I found these terrific gifting boxes, some at TJ Maxx and some at Target. So this guy was from TJ Maxx, and he opens up really beautifully like this. Super easy to put a gift inside. Boom, you're done. No fighting with the tape, no fighting with the gift wrap roll, and they look really beautiful. And the idea is to use them year after year. So I actually bought these boxes. Let me move this pretty nativity set over. Happy birthday. I bought these beautiful boxes years ago, probably 15 years ago, in an Acme supermarket. And I've been using them every year. I must have bought about 8 of them. And I have to say they're one of my favorite holiday traditions because not only do I put gifts inside of them, but at the end of the season, I put the ornaments inside. So it's a really cool way to store some of your Christmas collectibles, and it looks beautiful year after year. So this year I found some of these guys at Target. I bought the gift tags separately, and then I just kind of added them to the box. But once again, you can see how beautiful the box is. And these came in sets of 3. So there was a large, a medium, and a small. I'm looking for some of the other smaller ones that we had. Here's the small guy. And they're stackable. So at the end of the season, when you want to put everything away, they stack up really, really nice. But it was so easy to wrap all these presents. And listen, there's a lot of gifts here, but I have to be honest, a lot of them contain things like socks and batteries and underwear, stuff that we kind of need, new toothbrush and toothpaste, razors. Even though it looks like a really big display here, the fam knows that a lot of it's stuff that we use every year, but it's really fun to have all these beautiful boxes to look at. And then a lot of them do contain really fun stuff, some games and toys and things on the wish list. These were wine bottle holders. And I must have bought about 4 of these. And inside of each of these isn't wine, but it might be a t-shirt or a scarf. But it looks so beautiful, and it's so fuzzy, and it's so fun to open. And some of them are gold glitter. Some of them are silver. It's just a really pretty way to save some time and to reuse them every year. So it's almost like a Santa recycling program. So enjoy, guys. And you could find these, I'm sure, online and at so many stores now. They're getting to be super popular, but it was a really big time saver this year. So have a happy holiday and enjoy, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us in this video, and please say hi to us over on my Cranberry Fields Instagram page. You can also find us on TikTok, and I made a whole bunch of podcasts for you. You can find those wherever you listen to your podcast, and know that I made a whole bunch of online flower courses for you with easy to follow tips on how to grow beautiful flowers just like these in your own gardens. I will put all of those in descriptions below. And please also let me know where you're viewing this from in this great, big, beautiful world. I love to see how our flower tribe is growing around the globe each week. Also check out our Kelly Lehman's Flower Tribe Facebook group, because there's thousands of gardeners from all over the world, and they're asking and answering loads of garden questions over there. And know that YouTube has allowed me to have a super thanks button attached to this channel. And if you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee or let us know if you appreciate these videos, that would be terrific. Or you could just give us a like or a comment below. I would appreciate that. And I will see you guys in the next video.